the most overlooked aspects of learning a jazz standard is adding an outro to give the piece a sense of professionalism and completion. In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 or 6 of my favourite outros that are worth having under your fingertips if you don't know them already. Hey everybody, Jamie Holroyd here, helping you learn jazz guitar. Welcome to the channel. If you're new to jazz and you want a structured guide to learning jazz guitar, then please check out my free ebook, which is listed and linked below. If you'd like any of the diagrams or PDFs that go with this lesson, then you can get them by following me on Patreon. Let's get on with the intros. The first ending which I'd like to tell you about is called a tag ending. Tags are usually indicated by going like this, or just shouting the word tag at the end of a tune. A tag means to repeat the last 4 bars, usually the last 4 bars of a tune twice. On the very final playthrough of the tune is often played ritanando, meaning that it just slows down. Here's an example with the Blue Bossa melody. So the last phrase of the Blue Bossa melody goes... So you repeat that again. And on the very last time, the person playing the melody might do something like this. And this is where you watch them for the final note. They'll play the final note and then you'll play the final chord of the piece. That's called a tag ending. The next outro, which I'd like to discuss, is called extending a progression. So rather than just going to the 1 chord, if we use the 2-5-1 in C as an example here, that would give us D minor, G and C. Sometimes jazz musicians like to delay the 1 chord by using a flat 2 major 7, which in this key would be D flat. So the progression or the outro might go something like this: D minor 7, G7, and then D flat major 7, C. So in time, a variation of this is to use the final 1 chord as the beginning of a cycle. So the final 1 chord in the key of C is C major 7. You can then begin a cycle like this. This will lead you back to the flat 2 major 7, and then that's only a semitone away from where you want to end. So say if you're playing a 2-5-1 in C, G7, C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, wait for a Q, and then C. Okay, so you can mix this up. You might want to play the entire thing in time like that, or you could start by playing it in time, then go out of time. What you just heard then was a cyclic progression using major 7s. So you could do the same thing with dominant 7s. And still finish on a major 7. But really any type of cyclic progression will work there. You can also use progressions that move by semitones. So any progression that moves via a cycle, e.g. a 4th, or a semitone, is a strong motion to use in jazz. So you could do the same thing and then use a mix of both. So here's some 4ths, now semitones, 4th, and then that will end me back on the major 7. The general rule, if there is one, is to literally just go down the fingerboard, and you can almost make chords up as you go down, and it will sound absolutely fine as long as you clearly communicate what you're doing with the accompanist. A common variation of this that is often used on the bandstand is going to the chord which is a flat 5 from the root, so 2-5-1 in C again, D minor, G7. Rather than go to C major, think what is a tritone away from C major, which is G flat. You go to a G flat minor 7, F minor, E flat minor 7, E flat diminished 7. This is all chromatic movement, D minor, D flat, and then C sharp. So you can hear that entire rundown in time. And of course you could play that in time or out of time. and you might want to add some rhythm. A usual good rhythm that you can use to this type of ending is usually quarter note triplets. So, and here we come with the quarter note triplets. Another technique that you can use to add some consistency to this harmony is pedal points. Here's an example of using a pedal point over cycling dominant chords. So say for example, if you were playing E251 in C and you went to say a C dominant, then you could start by playing a C dominant and add in maybe a C pedal tone throughout the cycling dominant chords that would sound like this. And you can keep that going for as long as you want. You could change it if you like, so you might want to start by using a pedal note. And at the very end, so to hear all that in context. Another outro that you can use at the end of a tune is a long linear line. Players that do this include Joe Pass and John Coltrane. Here's an example of a Joe Pass phrase that he uses at the end of his tune C-E-D. Played slow, the line sounds like this. The next type of outros that I'd like to share with you are called stylistic outros. Sometimes the tune itself can suggest an idea as to how the song can be ended. Like for example, if you're playing a bluesy tune like Georgia on My Mind, then you could always use a conventional blues ending, such as one like this. Or maybe a Robert Johnson style ending. That will work. You don't always have to think that you've got to use a jazz ending. There are a few other common endings that you might want to check out, such as the Count Basi ending, which is great to use on a swing tune, and you can play this in double stops and it will sound like this. Another ending that you've got to know is sometimes referred to as the Duke Ellington or the Take the A Train ending, and that sounds like this. Some jazz standards actually have well-known intros and outros that you've got to know. For example, in Moonlight in Vermont, there is a coda there which is usually played at the end of the song. So if you're playing the last line of that in the key of E flat, 2, 5, 1, 5, 1, 4 bar on 1, and then you've got this coda, which is often played ritardando, sometimes in time. Once again, you've got to keep your eyes on whoever's playing that or signaling that to know what's going on. Another example is a tune called Black Orpheus, and that has a written coda. One of my favourite interpretations of this was shown to me by my jazz guitar teacher, Jamie Taylor at Leeds College of Music, and what Jim Hall does is he takes this ending and he adds contra motion to it. So the coda for that tune, as Jim Hall plays it, sounds like this. To finish off, I like to share a few ending chords with you that can be useful to play once the ending has been established. Most of these are in the key of C, but there are a few other keys that utilise open strings on the guitar. Here are the chords.
you.